Once upon a time, in the deep jungle full of tall trees and wild animals, a lioness gave birth to a small cub. But right after giving birth, something very sad happened because the lioness died, leaving the baby lion cub all alone in the big jungle with no mother to protect it and no father to guide it. At that exact moment, a flock of sheep was passing by. The tiny cub, who was confused and helpless and did not understand what was happening, saw the sheep moving together, and in its loneliness, it followed them and started walking with them. The flock of sheep accepted the little cub as one of their own, and slowly the cub began to live among them every single day. Because it lived with the sheep, the cub began to behave just like the sheep. It did not eat meat like lions usually do, but instead it ate grass because that is what the sheep ate. It never learned how to roar like a lion because no one around it showed it how. Instead, it bleated like the sheep and believed this was normal. The cub had no idea of its true nature, no idea of the power it carried inside, and no idea that it was meant to be the king of the jungle. It grew up thinking it was simply another sheep, weak and small, with no courage and no strength. Time passed and the lion cub became a young lion. But in its mind, it was still only a sheep. It walked with sheep, it lived with sheep, and it feared the same things that sheep feared. Even though its body was strong, its mind was trapped in weakness. One day, when the sun was shining and the flock was moving through the jungle, an old lion appeared. This old lion was powerful and wise, and when he looked at the young lion among the sheep, he could not believe what he was seeing. He was shocked and puzzled, because a lion walking with sheep was something he had never seen before. He thought to himself, "Why is this strong young lion living like a weak sheep? Why is he behaving like this when he is born to be a ruler?" The old lion decided he must help the young one discover the truth. So, to test him, the old lion attacked the flock of sheep, and all the sheep began to run away in fear. The young lion, believing it was one of them, also ran away, crying with terror. After a short chase, the old lion caught the young lion and held him. The young lion was trembling and shaking with fear. He cried loudly and pleaded, "Please, let me go. I am not a lion. I am just a simple sheep. Do not hurt me." The old lion was shocked to hear this, and in that moment he understood the deep confusion of the young lion. He realized this lion had grown up among sheep and had forgotten its true identity with kindness. The old lion pushed the young lion gently toward a river nearby. He said in a calm and steady voice, "Look at yourself in the water. Look carefully and see who you are. The young lion looked into the clear water of the river. For the very first time, he saw his reflection. What he saw was not the face of a sheep. It was the face of a lion. Strong, bold, and powerful. The young lion was shocked. He had never looked at himself this way. He blinked and looked again, and the truth became clear. He was not a sheep. He had never been a sheep. He was a lion, born with strength and born with greatness. In that powerful moment, the young lion felt something rise inside him. Something that had been asleep for a long time. He opened his mouth and let out a mighty roar. The roar was so loud that it echoed through the entire jungle, shaking the trees and sending fear into every corner. That roar changed everything. The young lion now recognized his true identity. He understood that living like a sheep had been nothing more than a mental trap, a false belief that had hidden his real strength. He realized that his whole life he had been living in fear, copying the weak and forgetting his own power. But now, with new awareness, he saw that his reality was different. He was a lion, not a sheep. This story carries a very strong message for all of us. Many people in life are just like that young lion. They grow up surrounded by people who doubt themselves, surrounded by people who live in fear, surrounded by people who do not believe in their power. Slowly, they also start to believe they are weak, even when they are not. Sometimes society tells you that you are small. Sometimes people make you feel you are not good enough. Sometimes fear surrounds you and makes you forget your strength. But just because you live among fear does not mean you are weak. You must shake off this false weakness. You must rise above the lies that the world places in your mind. You must discover your true potential, the same way the young lion discovered his. When you finally recognize your strength, when you believe in your true self, you will roar like the lion, and the world will know who you really are. You're real. Power is already inside you, waiting for the moment you decide to use it.